Year as well to everyone. Hope your year's off to a great start. If you don't mind, we're going to call the meeting to order. The first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance, and we're going to ask Commissioner Norm to lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Norm.
Thank you.
Got a large group today. Do we have enough seats for everyone, or?
We can pull a couple chairs out of the conference room here if need be.
Good to see people.
If anyone needs additional chairs, as people come in, there are some additional chairs in the conference room, so help yourselves. The next order of business is the approval of the minutes from the last meeting. I'll entertain a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the December 16th, 2025 meeting.
So
Okay, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. There being none, the motion carries. Thank you. The next order of business are public comments. I believe that initially we had 2 individuals who signed up for public comments, and then subsequently we had one additional lady who signed up. We're going to allow her an opportunity to speak as well. I think the person who signed up is Mr. Bob Thompson. Is Bob available? Oh, hi, Mr. Thompson. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. You're happy to be there, but please take the podium.
Easier for people to see, not
Okay.
have to turn around. So.
Sure.
Don't mind being on stage. Right? Hi, folks. My name is Bob Thompson. I reside next to the Vistas project that you'll be considering today. I'm also chair of the Highland Park Neighborhood Association. The HPNA has existed for over 60 years. Its geographical boundary includes over 1,700 properties. The Vistas project is one within the HPNA. As mentioned in my written comments I provided last week at the public input session, I have a long professional history in real estate sales and finance. In COMIDA's decision-making process, I'm certain that there's some level of underwriting or due diligence performed. I asked the board to take a hard look at the representations made within the application. As many, as detailed in my public input, are inaccurate or missing, there are very likely zoning issues that may stall this project. Mr. Ingrassia has represented financing has been arranged without providing underwriter information or bank contact information. Having information to validate that should be included in this process. Obviously, I would not expect private business information to be disclosed. However, a written assurance from banks involved, even a preliminary one, would certainly be a prudent and necessary element of this application. Having another incomplete project, such as Ingrassia's Skyview Mall development, formerly known as the Arundel Mall, or his long-stalled Rochester Riverside Hotel redevelopment, both of which were approved by this board, is certainly not the community's best interest. Both of these projects received community approvals. Approving this application as is, without additional study and data, would only be rewarding the developer, despite the poor performance of his other projects. While I support the community's efforts to encourage development, Monroe County is also charged with protecting public interest, including the tax base. I ask that this application be declined, or at the very least, properly documented and vetted prior to another submission of it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. I think next on the docket is Mrs. Sheila Murphy. Ms. Murphy, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Hi. My name is Sheila Murphy, and I live on Highland Parkway. The Colgate Divinity School has been a precious part of our neighborhood. And for me, I have wanted to protect it in any way possible. Mr. Ingrassia, I'm really glad that he applied for the historic state and federal tax credits to help restore the already existing buildings on the property. However, as a taxpayer and resident of the city of Rochester and Monroe County, I do just want to question, perhaps I don't fully understand how the decision gets made to give $9.1 million to a developer of basically high-end luxury apartments. I know a certain percentage is set aside for more affordable housing, But I guess, that's my biggest question is, I didn't see a seeker, so I wanted to make sure there was a, environmental review. And I just would like to know, and I know you can't tell me personally, but I'd like you to think about when you're making your decision, how you make that decision to, award, these tax abatements to a project like this. And I would like to know what the public benefit is for the average, taxpayer, citizen. What, and that includes how many jobs are being created, because I think that is basically that's under your purview. That's what this is all about, is establishing and creating long-term jobs. So, I guess I would like more communication about what's happening. I think that, I live on Highland Parkway. I am representing, a lot of neighbors that I've spoken with, and I think if more Monroe County residents knew about this, that they would question why tax breaks are being given to this developer for this particular project. Thank you.
Thank you. And I believe we have one additional speaker who signed up. I apologize, I don't have the name, but Mrs.
Mary Lavin?
Mrs. Lavin, welcome.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hi, I'm Mary. I live on Mulberry Street, a few streets down from Highland Parkway. And in the first go-round of this project, my concerns were mostly environmental, that the development seemed to be lacking in environmental study. The Warren administration at the beginning did not seem to see that that was a concern. This project lives on a glacial moraine, and a moraine that has never had a geological study to see what impact major buildings being placed on the top. A moraine is a hill of gravel that a glacier pushed into place, and it has been stabilized by hundreds of trees. And I know that because this project name is Vista, they still plan on giving the people in those apartments a view, and that means removing trees. I think the number was over 100, and that could really destabilize. A little aside, my brother-in-law, when the Warren administration did not require a geological study, that what removing those trees and all those roots out of that are holding that hill together. I have a brother-in-law who's a geologist, and he came and did some digging around, and he said it's really, it's not a good idea to do this. Now, of course, this is, a brother-in-law, it wasn't official. I do think it needs to be an official study. My concerns are the geological, environmental of removing trees in a city that is planting trees and doing the right thing. So that's very frightening. And also a traffic study. We did our own little traffic study, and it's, I think an official one, especially when there's we're in a hospital corridor. The hospital is growing, expanding. There's more traffic because of all the new workers, the amount of work they're doing for patients. So it's a hospital corridor where Rockingham can't have a street party because we can't block off Rockingham Street. So it's a concern of the city to make sure that the hospital is accessible. So I would think a traffic study also should be really emphasized, adding all those apartments and everybody having a car or two. So I'm back at it, and we're not going to stop. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Thompson, Mrs. Murphy, and Mrs. Lyman, thank you for your comments. There are no additional speakers who have signed up, and so at this point we'll move forward with the agenda. The next item is the local labor monitoring report. I believe we have Kevin Loki.
So Kevin just texted, he had a flight delay.
Oh wow, okay.
So he is not here.
Okay, this is brother?
No, his
No.
brother is not here.
Okay, all right, so, we'll push,
I can read
Circle back.
the report
okay,
just for
sure.
the record.
Okay, let's do that.
So this comes from Loki Brill. This is reflective of the December 2025 monthly COMIDA report. Covers site visits between December 1st and December 31st. Loki Brill performed 63 on-site visits in December, performed 3 follow-up visits during that time, and checked for residents of 737 workers. Of those workers, there were 6 issues of non-compliance, and that included 5 instances of no proof of residence. On December 4th, at the Fairlife Project site, 1 worker from Wilcox was on site without an ID. The worker was off the job site on a follow-up visit. On December 17th, at ESIV, there were 2 workers from American Custom Exteriors with no ID, and 1 from New View with no ID, and both were compliant on a follow-up visit. 1 was off the job site. December 17th, at Unither, there was 1 worker from AR Pierpont without an ID who was compliant on a follow-up visit. There were 0 instances of out-of-area workers, 1 instance of an invalid ID. That was on December 4th at the Fairlife site. There was a worker there from Wilcox with an invalid form of identification, but that person was compliant on a follow-up visit the next day, and there were no new COMIDA signs delivered.
All right.
Of course, and their annual report is also in your packet. The Loki Brill inside of 2025 checked residents of 16,352 workers during 725 site visits with 46 follow-ups, 96 issues of non-compliance total in 2025. So 97% average compliance on the initial site visit across all of our projects, and 15 new signs installed in 2025. All sites were 100% in compliance within 24 hours of initial visits.
Perfect. Kevin better watch out.
I just have a,
Sure.
if you don't mind, I have a question for Ray.
Sure.
In regards to this last year with Loki Brill, how do you rate their performance and getting back to you and responding to labor issues?
They've been great. I really can't say enough things about it. Especially Kevin in particular reaches out to me anytime there would be potentially an issue moving forward, or just an opinion based on what is this factual as far as local labor being available potentially. So yeah, they've been outstanding. I can't say anything good things about them.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? There being none. Anna, would you like to go over the local labor exemption report as well?
Certainly.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. There was 1 verified local labor exemption processed in December of 2025 for the Fairlife project, granted for AdaptTech Solutions under the no local labor available. AdaptTech Solutions is being hired to install non-ASRS racking on the Fairlife project site at 1900 Tibor Road in Webster. The scope of work was posted on the local builders exchange, so local contractors had the opportunity to bid. AdaptTech Solutions, which is based in Rochester, was originally committed to meeting the 100% local labor requirement for the project, but they fell behind on their schedule and are seeking an exemption for 10 additional workers from outside the 10-county local labor area.
Thank you, Anna. Any questions? Okay, there being none. We'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is the financial report. Unfortunately, Greg is not here with us today, but he sent, we have Greg Kingston with Bonadio here with us today, and so Alex, I'm sorry, welcome, and would you please give us the report, please, financial report?
Sure. Hi everyone. I'll just walk you through the significant items kind of in the financial report. So cash and cash equivalents. Significant items would be the COMIDA checking is about 416,000 of this balance. Apex has about 174,000, and then money market, there's a few thousand in savings. Walking down through investments, we currently are holding 12 treasury securities with a total maturity value of 17.1 million. During the month of December, we did recognize 65,000 of accrued interest and market value increases. Maturities, current holdings are staggered through the end of October 2027. And then since inception of the treasury investment portfolio, we have redeemed about 17 treasuries with an average overall return of 4.3%. Walking down to accrued liabilities balance here, the significant items there are $367,000 for MCC's Empower program, $37,000 of Apex funding accruals, and then another $50,000 for YAMTEP. And then overall, all other assets liabilities are in line with expectations. Going down to the statement of activities, fee income, we recognized $25,000 during the month from Coliseum Developments. Overall, obviously, we're lower than budget for year to date, but that can be difficult to predict the actuals based on that total. Workforce development, we've year to date set aside $8.4 million, and we've committed $7.8 million of that to various programs, so that leaves $566,000. And program community development, we're short of budget slightly. A lot of that's driven by the timing of workforce development invoices coming in for reimbursement based on when we allocated the assigned funds, committed funds. But we do have roughly $277,000 coming in January of 2026 from, 217 of that is from Empower. We have $33,000 from Retain, and then $26,000 due to Track. So some of that will catch up in the next year. And then overall, the net deficit was slightly below the budget amount. Some of that is the shortage in fee income, but also the, we spent a little bit less for community development, so. Otherwise, everything else, it's pretty well aligned with what we budgeted and pretty well with expectations.
Perfect, excellent job. Thank you, Hans. The financial statements were previously circulated to the board. I think everyone has had an opportunity to review the financial statements. If you have any additional questions, now would be the time to ask them of Alex. Any questions, comments? Okay, perfect. Alex, thank you very much.
Thanks.
We also have Steve Carl in attendance with us today. Welcome, Steve. Alex spoke to the approximately $17 million that we have invested in treasury. But we'll turn it over to you to place a little bit of a finer point on our allocation strategy.
I appreciate that very much. Thank
Sure.
you so much. And good afternoon, everybody. And thank you for the opportunity to work on your behalf. We're very excited about it. Over $17 million, and if you look just in the past year, the return was $744,000 that came on really low-risk securities. We keep it less than 2-year duration, which is part of the mandate compliance that you have for us. And so when you think about that low risk, one of the things I wanted to point out that we did meet some of the cash needs, so we were able to liquidate some and bring that over to the bank account, so you were able to utilize that. And everything we have is completely liquid. We can do it in 1 day's notice. So just to know that any cash needs that need to be met can be met immediately. The one thing I wanted to point out too is that because you see inflation moderating and the yield curve kind of normalizing, we're expecting that you're going to see the rates continue to fall. So we've actually moved just at the edges. We've moved out within the 2-year time frame, the 2-year duration. We're going a little bit longer than just staggering it completely to capture some of the higher rates right now to increase the yield. So that's one of the things we're doing on an active basis to try to maximize the return for you. But other than that, everything else is moving along very stably and meeting on cash needs, and working with the staff has been tremendous to work with. So kudos to you. If there's any questions, please let me know.
Perfect. Thanks, Steve.
And
Any questions?
To put it on the record, it was a catch. It was not an interception on Saturday. I wanted to make sure we got that on the record.
Watch out to open that wound, Steve. You're also hurting from that. All right, thank you. Okay, moving on, now we have the projects for consideration. The first project that's on the agenda today is JP White Trash LLC. Anna, would you please read the project summary for us, please?
Thank you, Chairman.
Sure.
JP White Trash LLC, a commercial and residential trash collection company headquartered in the town of Greece, proposes the purchase of a side-loading garbage truck equipped with an automated arm to grab and empty bins, and the equipment will be used to help the firm expand its services to customers in the town of Arundecoit. This is a $480,000 project purchase projected to create 7 FTEs over 3 years in addition to an existing 16 FTEs. The applicant is seeking sales tax exemptions only, and the benefit to incentive ratio is 626 to 1.
Perfect, thank you, Anna. I believe we have a representative here with us today, Mr. Kevin, say Goodwine?
Goodwine.
Good. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Kevin Goodwine, HB White Trash, LLC. We're currently located at 2015 Main Lane. And we've just expanded into the town of Arundecoit about a month, just opened it about a month ago. So, we're open to questions. We're expanding from Greece and we're in the northern part of Gates also. But our service is providing a lot of really good results and very happy customers, so it's going very well.
Can you come and pick up my trash? They,
What town are you in?
no, I'm in Brighton.
Oh,
Yeah, but it's not
sorry.
that well served.
We switched, like, anyway.
Yeah.
A different form.
I have a couple questions for you. You were here in the past, and neglected to ask you this question, so I'm gonna ask you it now. How'd you come up with the name?
James P. White is, he used to work for us. He started off about 27 years ago. And he was delivering our containers and we were basically just doing roll-offs. So we started off as a roll-off company, just moving construction debris. And we just moved into the trash business about 3 years ago.
Okay, all right. The second question I have is that I know that the town of Arundecoit has had some issues with collection of refuse in the past year. It's been sketchy. Have you had any conversations with the town in regards to going into that area?
Yeah, we applied about a year ago. We did just an evaluation as far as moving into the town. And they just granted us our permit at the beginning of this year to move into the town. We're currently, our intent is to service the whole town. That was one of the reasons why the investment into another new truck. But they have had some issues with some of the other management service companies there as far as servicing the consumers. So, but we haven't had any issues. We're roughly about 100 customers deep in one.
Thank you.
I didn't know these trucks were so expensive. Like, what's the, I mean, it's incredible. What's the estimated useful life for one truck? Like, how long can you keep it in operation?
Minimum 10 years, max maybe 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Interesting. And any other questions from any other board members? Okay. There are no questions. Public hearing was not required for this project, correct? Okay. And so from that standpoint, I just have a couple of questions for you, if you don't mind.
Yep.
Are you aware of our local labor policy?
Yes.
Okay. Do you anticipate any local labor exemptions at this time?
No.
Are you aware that any exemptions need to be requested 45 days in advance?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. The secret process is complete for this, and so at this point, I'll entertain a motion and a second for inducement and final resolution approving a sales and tax exemption.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Moved by Lisa and seconded by Brian. So I'll take the vote. Norman?
Yes.
Okay. Brian?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Rhett?
Yay.
Ray?
Yay.
Miguel?
Yes.
And it's a yes for me. Motion passes. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Okay, moving on, the next project that's on the agenda today, it's Megazone Corporation. Anna, would you please read the project summary for us, please?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Megazone Corporation, a cloud service provider headquartered in South Korea, is proposing renovation of 300 Willowbrook Office Park in the town of Harrington, which will serve as the company's U.S. headquarters. The project includes the purchase and installation of office equipment and technology necessary to support business operations and workforce expansion. This is a $290,000 project projected to create 100 new FTEs over 3 years, and the applicant is seeking approval of sales tax exemptions only at this time. The projected benefit to incentive ratio is 7,213 to 1.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Anna. I believe we have some representatives from Megazone Joining us online today, we have Miss Carrie Myers, who is the VP of Operations, and Mr. Bob Moore, the CEO. Welcome.
Oops. I thought we were on, oh, you guys are on mute.
There we go.
There we go.
Thanks for having us.
So
You're on.
would you like to know a little bit more about Megazone and what we're trying to do here?
We love to.
That's great. So, we're headquartered here in, Willowbrook Office Park, so a little bit about our background. So, the executive team here, was originally most of us were originally part of the Paytech team, as you may recall from back in the day. Post-acquisition of Windstream, a bunch of us started a company called Eagle Dream Technologies. That's the executive team here. And then we were purchased in 2020 by PwC, and we stayed with PwC for another 4.5 years or so. So, Megazone is headquartered in Seoul, Korea, about 2,000 people, about $1.8 billion in revenue, anticipated to go public this year. We have very small presence in the United States. Hyundai Auto is our biggest customer. We do about $100 million a year with them globally. So we have a small group of about 30 people in Irvine, California. So early last year, we had a discussion with the new CEO of that organization about bringing Megazone US here, headquartered in Rochester. So if you look at our history of our executive team, we've done 4 different companies based around RIT. Actually was a former trustee, and I was last year's distinguished alumni. Basically because we've hired and trained so many co-ops. So really our goal is to really sort of recreate what we did with some of our previous cloud companies for Megazone here in the US. We anticipate our headcount here in Rochester to be about 100 people by the end of the year. Nationally, we think that'll be probably about 150 with 50 in Irvine. And when we sat down to sort of do the business plan for Megazone Korea, it was Rochester's our only choice. This is where we've lived for 30 years. Both families here have had really success with Paytech and Eagle Dream and other businesses, all solely built around RIT labor. So we're super excited to have this opportunity to bring Megazone to the US. And, we're gonna have a very healthy relationship here in Rochester. So I think I'll stop there. But yeah, we've, super excited to be back here in Rochester and doing this. And like I said, our hiring, we have, we had 10 people just start today. So, it's all high paying jobs, I would tell you, if you don't know what we're doing. Think of software engineers, think of cloud engineers, think of AI engineers. A lot of people talk about AI. Very few people are actually doing it at the practical level. And so one of the things that, whether it was cutting edge technology at Paytech or Amazon Web Services, with Eagle Dream Technologies, really the basis of what we're doing is really hiring. We're relocating people here to Rochester, but we're also using sort of the incredible labor pool that we have with the students at the Galvesano School at RIT to really train them up and take their software engineering skills and turn them into cloud native engineers, for the coming economy.
So great, thank you. So of the 100 FTEs that you plan to hire, like how many directly do you think will actually be hired out of RIT? Are you just recruiting externally outside the region and, importing folks, or do you think it's all native?
Question. If I look at my crystal ball, the lion's share of our long-term employee base will come from RIT. And so if I step back just a little bit, I was on the founding and executive team at Paytech for many years. I was the senior most person asked to stay as part of the Windstream acquisition. Then of course when I was showing my walking papers, I had to do a day job. I didn't want to leave Rochester, so we started Eagle Dream. But at Paytech, we hired about 400 of our 1,100 people in my department came from RIT. At Eagle Dream Technologies, we hired about 200 people. Went through the process of RIT, which means that you go through the co-op program. Probably many people in the room are familiar with that program. We hired them, and we kept them on. Some of the top cloud engineers today at PwC were based on the co-ops that we hired 6 and 7 years ago. So really, because we're just now starting our operations, we have our first crew of 8 co-ops that just started. But you're going to see that be, 20 in June. You'll see it be 30 in September. So once you sort of get that going,
the growth curve of what we're trying to do, with the dean over there is really trying to make this, sort of a go-to destination. I think that's what we all want in Rochester, right? We want people, staying here, learning here, staying here, raising families here. That's been my history. I came from Pittsburgh and went to RIT back in the 80s and met my wife and raised our kids here and, and been very fortunate with businesses here. So that's really what we're planning on doing with RIT Labor. So again, over time, I think you'll see, a couple of hundred students go through that program. Hopefully we keep, 100, 200 of them. But really, I think that what's really nice here is that you have that school. You're able to take the best and brightest out of the Galveston School. And we're different, right? Like, I think one of the things for us is we put them in an immersive environment right with client projects, so they learn alongside and they sort of drop them into the deep end of the pool. So, but again, I'm very proud. I will tell you that, a lot of the graduates that we had through the program at Paytech are in leadership positions all over the world. And at PwC, it's certainly a very, top 4 big brand in the world. Very, very fortunate they acquired my company. But the reason why I actually did that deal was the home that they made for our family and for the students that we had hired. And you have, 100 people from that that are still now thriving in Rochester, based for PwC, doing global work. And we also had another company called Dream Health that was acquired by NextGen, and again, global leaders in technology, and they all stayed and made families here in Rochester.
That's amazing. Yeah, thank you for your commitment to Rochester and to the region. Any other questions or comments from members of the board? Okay. A public hearing was not required for this project. And so from that standpoint, I have a couple questions for you.
Sure.
Bob asks questions of you, if you don't mind. Actually, I should have asked Carrie. Do you have any comments that you'd like to make, or?
No, but I would just add to Bob that we're not opposed to hiring RIT graduates as well.
Okay.
We've done that without.
Oh, 100%. Maybe I misrepresented it, but yeah, of course.
All right, perfect.
Program is a lifeline for us. We definitely use it, but we have hired RIT grads as well that don't go to the co-op program. That's all. No, we love our RIT, whether they're co-ops or grads.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you for that comment. Okay, so now I have some local labor questions for you. Bob asks these questions of you. Are you aware of our local labor policy?
Yes.
Do you anticipate any local labor exemptions at this time?
No.
Okay. And are you aware that any exemptions need to be requested 45 days in advance?
Of course.
Okay. And the secret process for this project is also complete. So at this time, I'll ask if there's a motion and a second for inducement and final resolution approving the sales tax exemption. Okay. Motion by Brett, seconded by Miguel. I'll call the vote. Norman?
Yes.
Okay. Brian?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Rhett?
Yay.
Ray?
Yay.
Miguel?
Yes.
It's a yes from me as well. Motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We appreciate your support.
Thank you. It's pretty cool. A lot of new jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, his commitment to Rochester is so important.
Yeah.
I mean, I recall the Paytech, when Paytech came, they went stream, and they're still here, so that's so important.
Yeah, it tells an important story.
Awesome. Okay. Moving on, now we have the third project on the agenda. We have Vistas at Strong LLC, Vistas at SA LLC, Vistas at Montgomery LLC, and Vistas at Highland LLC. Anna, would you please read the project summary, please?
Thank you, Chairman.
Sure.
The Vistas project, located in the city of Rochester, includes the renovation of several existing buildings on the former Colgate Rochester Divinity School campus, along with the construction of 2 new residential buildings. When complete, the project will deliver a total of 136 new residential units, with rents ranging from approximately $1,170 monthly for a 1-bedroom unit to $2,700 monthly for a 2-bedroom unit. At least 20% of the units, 27 apartments, will be affordable, with rents averaging 60% of area median income adjusted for household size. One of the existing buildings will continue to include office space, shared amenities, and the existing charter school, which will remain on site. The applicant is seeking approval of a sales tax exemption and mortgage recording tax exemption, and qualifies for the Premier Housing Plus real property tax abatement, consistent with the framework recommended in COMIDA's recently adopted housing study. The total project cost is approximately $46.2 million. The project is projected to create one direct full-time equivalent position, which is a property manager, and yields a benefit to incentive ratio of approximately 7-to-1. And before we proceed, I want to clarify the employment figures referenced in the cost-benefit analysis, as this was raised during our public hearing. The one job identified in the application reflects a direct on-site position associated with the project, a property management position, and the 45 full-time equivalent jobs referenced in the cost-benefit analysis are not on-site jobs. These are figures generated by staff using an economic modeling tool developed by the MRB group, reflecting a broader economic impact associated with adding net new housing units to the county's housing supply. When new households are added, households that would not otherwise exist but for the project, their spending supports jobs across the local economy, and the model captures those direct, indirect, and induced impacts. And staff believes it's important to distinguish clearly between on-site employment and broader economic impacts, and make that explicit for the board. And COMIDA's housing study, as noted earlier, approved last month, found that the county is experiencing a significant housing supply shortage with new inventory needed across a range of price points to relieve upward pressure on rents and home prices. And this project is consistent with that analysis and with the policy direction the board endorsed through adoption of the Premier Housing Plus framework.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Anna. I believe we have a representative here with us today, Mr. Angelo Ingrassia, member manager, to comment on the company and the project. Welcome, Ange.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd like to thank the board for the opportunity to present my project today. I appreciate that. Anna described the project for us today, so I stand here ready to answer any questions you may have.
Mr. Ingrassi, there's a question about the hotel and the time that's taken to get to a point where you're going to move on it. Could you give us an update on where you're at with the hotel?
Sure. So originally when we started that project, there were sources of funding to have that project be completed. One of them was the ARPA funds that were allocated to that project, and also an ESD state grant of $7 million. Unfortunately, the city of Rochester changed its mind on the ARPA grant and moved that grant away. So that put me in a position where I had to seek alternative ways to put the project together. So what I did at that point is I worked together with the Landmark Society, and we created a district of all the buildings that were built during urban renewal, and the Radisson Hotel was one of them. And because of that, we were able to create that district and then able to then access state and federal tax credits through historics. So that was the step that we had to make. It took us a little bit of extra time. We're through that process now. We're at part 2 at this point in time. We should have our final part 2, I would say, in the next 90 days, and then the project will move on.
Thank you.
One of the questions I had was raised by the public speaker about the removal of trees in the moraine. Did your environmental study along the way encompass that?
Yeah, there was an extensive review of this project from all the aspects through the development process, and everything was researched and gone through the process of getting the approval from the city of Rochester. So yes.
At the public hearing, when I listened to it, there was a lot of complaints with things on existing properties not being taken care of. For instance, the elevator not working. How do you address that?
Elevators take anywhere from 6 to 8 months to be repaired or replaced, and so it's a custom elevator. So as soon as the elevator went down, we contacted an elevator company, and it's being manufactured. So it's not a cookie cutter where you can just pull it off the shelf and install it in the building. Everything is completely custom.
Angelo, one of the things that was mentioned, one of the local residents addressed some concern about increased traffic. Have you done some sort of traffic study
That was all gone through at the approval process, all of that was vetted, every single aspect, the community at large, and rightfully so, because this is a cherished piece of property. And although I don't agree with some of the things and how they feel about it, I do respect their diligence in trying to make sure that this project is done correctly. And I think that process took place.
Is there, just for our own knowledge, and I'm sure those here, can you expound a little bit about what the traffic pattern might look like? Is there an alternative entrance or exits that are gonna be, put in place that are not currently there, or something that they?
Well, there are two access points to the facility, but one is only utilized for emergency purposes. And that was one of the things that came out in the approval process, that they didn't want any construction or any other vehicular traffic going through the other exit of the site, so it's just a single entrance and exit.
Okay.
And obviously, the historic nature of the property, we can't create a new driveway out of there, so. And part of that process, just so everybody's aware of the board, is the front 13 acres, we put a preservation easement on it to make sure that that will never be built upon ever, and to keep that vista the way it is. And so we did our part, we feel, as developers, to protect that piece of property, and I think it's gonna be a fantastic project.
Thank you.
But for your involvement with this project, Ange, and that this is strictly subjective, what's your opinion as to what would have happened to the property? Was it vacant before you acquired it? Was there significant interest from the development community to acquire it and repurpose it?
No, I'm probably one of the guys that picks the developments that nobody else wants. There was an original developer who walked away from the project. It was out to many developers, and there was no takers. So it was a challenging project, but at the end of the day, it's worthwhile. Could I tell you what could have happened? I can't really tell you. I do feel the folks from the Colgate Divinity College would have done everything they could have done, but they had a certain mission to uphold, and one of them is the survival of the school. And just to give you a little background of that, when the school left, I was encouraging them to stay. I wanted them to stay on some part, but it was important to them to get out into the community. And so they decided to move, and they went to Village Gate, which is a very nice place. There's nothing wrong with Village Gate, but it wasn't really in the center of town where they needed to be. And I felt a need to work with the Divinity School to find them another location. And the location I was able to find them was the Triangle Building. So we took that building that was recently vacated by the state of New York, that could have ended up being an empty building, but that's not what happened. And we struck on it very quickly, and we were able to renovate that building, and now that's the new home of the Colgate Divinity College. And with their, with all that has happened with that college, they deserve to be on Main and Main in downtown Rochester. And there's where they are. They are there now, and they are very happy.
That's right. Well, any additional questions from the board? No? Okay. Robin, were there any comments at the public hearing which was held, was it January 15th?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, there were 3 speakers at the public hearing, which were summarized for the board, along with the board was sent the live stream link to view the actual public hearing. We did receive, at that meeting, at the public hearing, we were handed written comments, and they were also emailed to us, and we did reply to the board with addressing some of those concerns. And up until right before 12 o'clock today, we compiled all of the written comments and shared them with the board members.
Okay, thank you. There's no action to take on those other than the fact that they were circulated, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So at this point, Ange, I have some questions for you, if you don't mind. Are you aware of our local labor policy?
I am.
Do you anticipate any local labor exemptions at this time?
I do not.
Are you aware that any exemptions need to be requested 45 days in advance?
I do.
Okay. And the secret process for this project is complete, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So at this point, I'd like to ask if there's a motion and a second for inducement and final resolution approving a sales tax exemption, partial mortgage recording tax exemption, and partial real property tax abatement. Motion by Rhett, seconded by Brian. I will call the vote. Norm?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Rhett?
Yay.
Ray?
Yay.
Miguel?
Yes.
Okay, so yes for me as well. Motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the next item on the agenda, we have project modifications, the first of which is 800 Linden LLC, assumption of P&L Linden LLC, and we have a representative, Alma, is it Giru? Okay, VP of Business Operations. Anna, would you like to give us an update on the project, and the board can ask any questions that we may have?
Sure.
Do you need to read our project summary first?
I can read the summary quickly, just
Sure.
for the record.
Okay.
P&L Linden, a real estate holding company, is selling 800 Linden Avenue in the town of Pittsburgh to 800 Linden LLC, which is a real estate holding company. And a related entity, LMT Technology, will be occupying the building.
Okay.
Sorry,
There you
thank
go.
you.
Yes, so we were hoping to close by January 31st. It has now been pushed down to February 15th. But P&L Linden did a lot of renovations to that space. Now there's a pilot on that building, so I'm here to see if we can assume that pilot. And we're an IT services company. We're bringing our staff. Right now, we're in the High Falls district, and we're going to be moving to that location in Pittsburgh, East Rochester, on bordering.
Awesome. Are there any questions from board members?
Well, why are you leaving the city?
Well, we wanted to buy a building, and we needed parking available for our employees. So I would have stayed in the city if I found something, which was a standalone building with lots of parking that doesn't exist.
Okay, well, at least you stayed in the county. Thank you.
Yes, sure.
And actually, the location is a very good location.
Oh, Howard.
There's a lot of ways to get there. As the former superintendent of the school district, it's coming in.
Awesome. Any other questions from, or comments from members of the board? Okay, there being none. Is there a motion to approve the sale of the facility and assignment of the real property tax abatement?
So moved.
Seconded.
All right, moved by Norm, seconded by Lisa. I'll call the vote. Norm?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Rhett?
Yay.
Ray?
Yay.
And it's a yes for me as well. The motion carries. Congratulations. Sure. The second project, summaries of the following projects seeking extensions of the sales tax exemption were provided to the board, and there will be one motion to approve all of them. The first is JM&J Leasing Middle Road. It's an extension through 12/31/26. The second is Waffle Eater, or actually Waffle Aider LLC, extension through 12/31/26. And the final project is Rock Depot LLC, which is an extension through 12/31/26. I'll entertain a motion to approve all of the projects seeking extensions of the sales tax exemptions. Moved by Rhett, seconded by Brian. I'll take the vote. Norm?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Rhett?
Yay.
Ray?
Yay.
It's a yes for me as well. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, Executive Director discussion items. Anna, I'll turn it over to you. I think the first one is Iberio American Action League.
Yes, thank you,
Okay,
Truman.
sure.
I'm pleased today that we have with us Angelica Perez Delgado, the President and CEO, and Lucia Colindres, the Chief Program Officer from Ibero American Action League, who are here to share an update on the Workforce and Entrepreneurial Connections Program. This board approved a $1 million contract with Ibero over a 4-year term, and 2026 will be the 4th year of the program, subject to annual board approval. This is one of the earliest programs that we provided support to through the Workforce Development Fund. So welcome, Lucia and Angie. Thank you for being with us.
Hi, thank you. So my name is Lucia. I'm here speaking on behalf of our Workforce and Entrepreneurship Program. We're very excited. We're in year 3, which we just completed. And our team has done an amazing job, which I'm happy to share with you. I'm going to focus on the key performance indicators and the goals that we have achieved, which is listed on page 7 that we just shared with you. And as you can see, we have 3 main components. We have
job placement program, we have an entrepreneurship program, and we have a community health workers training with job placement as part of the program. And combined, we had a goal of providing this service to 400 individuals, and we have doubled our numbers. We have served, and we're in year 3. So we have served 818 individuals, but our goal was 400, so we're very excited. One of the things to note with this is that there's a huge need for job placement, so people do come to our community resource center looking for employment. So we have the opportunity to not only offer that, but also training and also entrepreneurship. And we also measure the completion of those trainings. Obviously, we do lose some individuals. We have set up some pretty aggressive goals, which we have achieved and surpassed. And also, we have been able to achieve our job placement, which is at 224. So we're very excited for that. I don't know if you have any questions specifically to that. I know last time we came, you wanted to know a little bit more about job placement and where we were, how we were doing. So on page 8, you can see that about 39% have been in manufacturing, printing, and production, with our highest one being cleaning, housekeeping, and janitorial services. One thing that I can mention regarding our community health workers program is that has evolved. We do have the apprenticeship. We are the only apprenticeship in Finger Lakes region, and we have a new partner, which is Finger Lakes
Provider Performance,
which we were chosen to be the lead trainer in the region, of the Finger Lakes region, for the WHEEL, which is the new initiative with part of the 1115 maker. Share any details, or you guys have any questions for us? We've been pretty busy. Yes.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Norm.
I'm looking at page 8, and I just having got this, I'm trying to follow what you've submitted. And it says that job placements and entrepreneurial outcomes are 224. And then it says job placement outcomes by industry 81. I'm just trying to determine how many jobs have actually been placed.
Yes, I'm sorry to confuse you. The 81 is only for the job placement for this year alone, because we do a yearly report.
Okay.
But I wanted to give you the overall of what we have done, so I should have done it backwards. So the 81 is only for 2025.
Okay.
The graph's just showing you what we committed to doing over the 4-year period.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
So it's the 224, I'm sorry, Norm. Go ahead. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
And the last time we were here, we talked about CDL and some of the problems that you're having with bilingual training. How'd you make out with that? What's going on?
We didn't. We did have a brief conversation with BOCES. Unfortunately, what we're experiencing is that a lot of times when people come up with job training that's English as a second language focus, it is easy for Spanish language individuals to be lost. So part of our dream has been to pilot bilingual job training, which we do with an amazing partner at REOC, and nobody pays us for it. As a great example, we decided that we wanted to increase child development associate certification for bilingual childcare workers, and we currently feed a lot of the registered. I think your current class is almost, really gonna make, but how big is it? Oh, 15, and the year before it was 17. So we find that when we're able to specific hone in language, we're able to gather folks and specifically train them. So unfortunately, although we try to advertise it and we tried to kind of offer it as a viable option for those that were Spanish speaking, it was hard to be in a room where there were people who spoke at times, 7 different languages. We continue to believe that a lot of what needs to happen in the job trade
is the transfer of skill language, which is very specific thing. So teaching people the technical aspects of their job in their native language, and then working on the translation of that so that they can inherently learn their job. And that's something that we've actually been able to do successfully with REOC through the CDA, but we were not able to find a partner. And to be honest with you, with this political climate and the testing for English proficiency, we kind of moved on to the things that we could do and provide workforce. But we do think that that is where the opportunity is for us, that maybe one day, maybe after this 4-year funding, we get to pilot that, I think, in a deeper way, because as we talk about AI, as we talk about, Micron, as we talk about all these different opportunities, we really think that we can do, or just regular job skills trade, right? HVACs and other opportunities, even with MCC, to offer bilingual programming. And there's models. We actually looked at a model in the University of Miami where they did very specific skills trade in bilingual formats.
Well,
The
I'm
community
glad,
health workers is a bilingual program.
Yeah.
so I'm glad that, that you made a connection with Roosevelt and what they're doing over there, so that,
No,
I think it's,
Roosevelt is an easy partner.
yeah,
Roosevelt, you just call him and say, we want to try something, and he jumps right in and he helps us co-create, and it always works out. And we've done it before. I mean, we did it with the migrant families where they first came. We did a brief partnership with automotive. So they've always been a willing partner.
I'm just wondering, the current environment, how have you found the relationship with your employment partners? Have you found that there's been like a retreat among employers, or, they are entrenching and continuing to work with you for job placements, and they're being good partners? Just, if you could speak a little bit about that and, the job placement opportunities that you continue to see. Any headwinds or challenges at this point?
Yeah, they're being good partners. I mean, they still need workers. Rochester Work is one of our biggest partners that helps with, we're really just like a bridge and a conduit and a support to make sure that folks have access. But we work with employers directly. We continue to be a safe space where people, I think last time we spoke, we talked about Barlett and how they provide bilingual orientation to the staff that they hired for us at our space. So I think Ibero continues to be a safe space for not just the employers, but for the families that we serve, despite of this political climate. We're pretty low key when it comes to keeping some of our advocacy and efforts. We're always going to put our family first, and I think that's helped us continue to do our work regardless of what's happening in the political environment.
And the job placement service has doubled. So individuals are coming to our organization looking for support, and we collaborate with Rochester Works to support with the other things like resident building, additional things that they might need. The community health workers is easier because that's an established profession, and so there's a lot of need, from community-based organizations and in the healthcare field.
Sure.
So that there's a little bit more demand.
That's great. And what about the retention? So the 224, is that 2023 through 2024, not including the 81, or is that the 224? Is that the total number?
So you confused me a little bit, but
I'm sorry.
I was focused on the 81, which
Sure.
is what we were able to measure. And so far, we
Okay.
went back 6 months, and the retention was at 100%.
Oh, great. Okay.
Which is amazing. The other piece that we offer is beyond the counseling that we do is not a one-time thing. There's also ongoing follow-up.
Sure.
Because there's needs for transportation, childcare, and things like that.
That's awesome. I'm going to get off my soapbox, but I think it's important that we highlight that fact, right? Despite what some narratives may be, if we give opportunities to people to be gainfully employed, no matter, their race, creed, color, they can do a good job and add value to the organizations that they work with. And I think it's highlighted by the fact that your retention is 100%. So, personally, I just want to commend you for the work that you're doing, and, say keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Let the team know.
Thank you. I also like to highlight that out of the 300 plus adults that we relocated here from New York City, 100% of them that could work went to work. The ones that didn't, it was because simply they couldn't.
Sure.
And even till today, even in this climate, they are living their best self-sufficient lives and contributing to our community here in Rochester on a daily basis. So we pride ourselves in, although we don't see ourselves as a workforce kind of institution, we have learned that that is the role that we play and that our community expects us to be that bridge, and we're excited about the amazing work that we do with all of our partners to make that happen for everyone in our community.
Right.
I have a couple of comment and a question. So the placement numbers are excellent. And my question is, in the entrepreneurship track, that is the best placement percentage, but it doesn't have as many people. There's not as many people that, why would that be?
Yeah, a lot of our small businesses tend to just have one employee. We have worked really hard in our training to help our small business also scale and hire one or two. That is something that we noticed ourselves. We've had some interruption in staffing there, so now that we've had dedicated staffing for the last year, we're hoping that that improves, but it's mainly that they become the employer of one themselves. So that's something that we're working with them, especially as they scale their business or have, increased contracts. That's a big challenge to our entrepreneurs. Yeah.
Thank you. At this point, I'll ask if there's a motion for the four-year contract to support the Iberia Workforce and Entrepreneurial Connections Program in an amount not to exceed $250,000.
So moved.
Moved by Brian, seconded by Ray. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? Abstentions? None? Motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, moving on, we have the Rochester, great work. Moving on, we have the Rochester Downtown Development Corporation. We'll have an update from
Yes,
them.
thank you, Chairman. I'm pleased today to welcome Galen Brooks, the President and CEO of the Rochester Downtown Development Corporation. There's also a number of, I think I spotted 8 or 9 different community supporters here who are present to underscore Galen's message. You'll recall that this board approved in 2024 a contract with Rochester Downtown Development Corporation in an amount not to exceed $300,000 in operating capital, and that was repurposed from an original approval that was related to an ambassador program which was pivoted. And so Galen is here to present us with a status update on what has been accomplished with the $300,000 so far and strategic path moving forward with our partnership.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Anna, and thank you, members of the board, for your time today, your support, your attention, your commitment to this region, and also to downtown Rochester. I head up the Rochester Downtown Development Corporation, as Anna shared. We are a small nonprofit that focuses on driving vibrancy in the core of our city. Thank you. Is that right? You're going to advance the slides for me? I will. Okay. We can stand. Okay. Thank you so much. So downtown Rochester is the living, breathing heart of our region, as you all know. It's our central meeting place, marketplace, place where everyone comes together, and it's really the visual of our shared identity. When you ask somebody from this region where they're from, they say Rochester. When they think of that, they see the river, they see the buildings. This is the heart of our region. This is the engine of our entire economy. The area of downtown that we focus on at RDDC is really this inner core of high density. You'll see it highlighted in the map on the left in this image. And here we have more people than ever living today, with continued strong occupancy rates and a diversified, active, live, work, play community with more and more things to do and see added each day. There's still much untapped potential. Next slide, please. Our work to drive vibrancy in the heart of our region happens in 3 key ways. At RDDC, we work on telling the downtown story, activating downtown, and strengthening partnerships for safety and beautification. With your help, this work is having an impact. Momentum is building, and we're seeing regular and repeated growth across every measure. More people are here on weekdays, more people are here in general, and even more people are here on weekends than there were before the pandemic. Next slide, please. As part of a core group of strategic funders, COMIDA, like One Rock, ESD, University of Rochester, ESL, Farish, RG&E, and many of our downtown property owners and cultural entities, your funding in 2025 unlocked a new expanded and strategic program of activities to drive greater impact and boost vitality in our downtown core. I would also like to acknowledge the many people here in this room today who are part of that mix of funders and supporters. I know, Anna, you did so as well, thank you. But we have Visit Rochester represented in Greg LaDuca, Tim Corcoran with CGI and our board treasurer, Steve Dubnik with the Museum of Play, Tim, Dr. Schaefer, and Dr. Roosevelt Marius, our partners at REOC, Ken Green with the Wind Companies and Sibley Square, Matt Druin with Oak Grove, John Connors over our team at RDDC,
The whole audience.
quarterbacking everything, and Shannon Ely in the back with One Rock, and then of course Eugenio Marlin with Ibero. So this is just a sampling of the broad ecosystem that makes this work possible, but none of it is possible without COMIDA's support. Next slide, please. One of our strategic programs, which COMIDA's funding directly made possible in 2025, was the Downtown Rockstars program. Launched last summer, the first cohort of 10 on-street hospitality guides greeted over 700 people on the streets of downtown, welcoming them with information on things to do and see, and handling their questions. This program was launched in partnership with the wonderful folks at REOC, and Dr. Marius and Schaefer are here today and happy to jump in if you'd like to share a couple words about that program.
Yeah. One, I'd just like to say thank you for your support and the ability to help create the program along with our partners here. We could not have done it without everybody, and it had a huge impact on our students. So as you heard, we completed the program. We have currently 7 verified employment from that program, and we're still working with those other individuals to help them gain employment. We were able to bring 7 of those students back in the winter, so in that beginning of December time period, so they could also go back out and highlight the wonderful things that were happening in downtown during that time of year as well. And then we are looking to start our next cohort in April of this year.
Thank you so much, Dr. Schaefer. Next slide, please. Also, as a direct result of your support, we launched the first season of outdoor decor, the Outdoor Decor Grant Program in downtown in 2025, and added over 70 new lights on Main Street and provided 11 grants to small businesses throughout downtown to add interest and light to the exterior of their ground floor spaces, really animating and populating downtown with activity and visual interest in our winter season. Next slide, please. These programs are having real results. And this year we saw a 67% increase in the number of retail businesses in the heart of downtown Rochester. New places to eat and drink, to see each other, to come together as a community, but also to take pride in the heart of our city. And we know that that part of our work is setting the table so that people have a nice time when they arrive, but part of the work is also ensuring that they know that they want to come. And a big part of our jobs is to get the word out about all that is great and growing in downtown. With your help and that of our key funders, we've been pushing this message hard, and it is paying off. Our social media platforms are enjoying exponential growth, testimonials of people who live and work here, breaking announcements about new things to do and see here, and behind-the-scenes exclusive looks at small businesses and hidden gems. Instagram alone has had an increase of 135% in followers since 2022, and our handles at Downtown Rochester NY are not only growing the number of eyes on positive content about downtown Rochester, but they are resulting in deeper engagement as well. Next slide, please. Your general operating funding for RDDC in 2025 unlocked the ability for our organization to launch the Main Street Activation Program. In its first year, with 2 phases to come, we've awarded 4 small businesses to open on Main Street in the heart of downtown, including a vintage store, karaoke bar, specialty market, and an ice cream shop. Next slide, please. And not to be outdone by the business vitality and marketing, we also grew our event programming last summer, offering brand new programs on the Genesee Riverway and in Washington Square Park. From outdoor movies and food truck rodeos to yoga in the park and concerts and festivals in Parcel 5, our season had something for everyone and filled up summer in the city with options and energy you can feel. Next slide, please. This is your dollars at work. The regular, energetic, engaging, and appealing experiences people want from their downtown, and the messaging and storytelling to make sure that they know about it. As you know, it is work that takes time. 2025 was our first year in this newly expanded operating posture. In 2026, we will build on the foundation that was laid and diligently and strategically push harder and harder to realize a more vibrant and dynamic downtown Rochester, one that is perpetually generating the flywheel of investment and growth across our regional economy, igniting new projects, growing new businesses, and expanding our workforce. We hope you will join us as we may continue the push for an ever more vibrant and dynamic downtown Rochester. Thank you.
Absolutely.
A couple of questions, Galen. A great presentation. I spent over 30 years of my career in various downtown buildings, so I'm a big believer and supporter. A couple of things struck me more powerfully, less the 2022 numbers, but more the annual growth number of visitors from, I think, 15.5 million, I'm trying to remember the slide, to 16.5 million in the most recent years. If you could comment on that, because that to me, that seemed like a big number in a short period. And then the 37% decrease in crime, I thought was very compelling because, as you know, and I think I was on the RDDC board in the early 90s, by the way.
Wonderful.
And there's a lot of, I think, misunderstanding out in the suburbs about downtown, and it still exists. And number one, could you talk a little bit about the nature of that reduction in crime? And secondly, what are you doing, what are we doing to get the word out to combat what oftentimes is a lack of information or misunderstanding?
Absolutely. It's a really important question and such a challenge locally in terms of perceptions and misinterpretations of the environment and the context in downtown. We really focus on the positive. So our messaging, our rhetoric, our push is to make sure that the stories that are all about what's great and growing in downtown get visibility and really strong visibility. So that, first and foremost, helps people to have a new understanding of what downtown is and all of the different people that feel good about being here, and seeing that as such a strong signal of the reality on the ground here today. But then it also, of course, introduces them to small businesses and other places to frequent. But that messaging, that PR is really core to our efforts. In 2026, we are launching a new PR campaign to really drive at that issue in particular because we know it is such a challenge. But the work that we have been doing thus far has really been building organic, authentic stories and making sure that they get a lot of eyeballs. We have content now on social media that gets a couple thousand views right off the bat. John Connors on my team back here does an incredible job on all of our channels, but we get the word out in a really positive way currently and make sure that that understanding is felt and heard. Those first person stories are really out there, so we do testimonials now. We started that campaign a couple of months ago
or people who live and work here are telling their stories about why they love downtown. And that's more powerful than anything else, right? Actually seeing and hearing from an individual who works here about what they love about it. That can really help to change hearts and minds. But then moving forward in 2026, we are targeting a specific PR campaign around it, and we're building that right now.
And then the reduction in crime?
Sorry, the reduction in crime, so that is in comparison to 2023 numbers, so the height of activity, and it's real. I think we've seen a reduction in crime generally throughout the city, and I know the mayor's done a great job of sharing those positive proof points. Generally, we could all sit here and kind of make observations about the pandemic and the lasting effects of the pandemic, but we know it had an impact on crime in cities. That was seen throughout the country. And so that was also seen here, and thankfully many of the initiatives and programs, the attention of our PD, the return to office, the growth in residential, all of the different building blocks of community really coming together in downtown have helped turn that tide.
Question.
Yeah.
On that, so a couple other things that RDBC helps facilitate. So RDBC, I'm chair of the board of RDBC, by the way, but RDBC also facilitates a meeting with various security teams from across different organizations in the city, get together and share information about things that are happening, different practices and so on. They're place to place to help improve it. RDBC also hosts quarterly business owners meetings with RPD, where different senior officers of RPD come in and exchange with the business owners and what's going on and share ideas and comments and get feedback directly that way.
Correct.
So we take an active role in trying to work with the police department here to help continue crime going down.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I just have to say, I love your energy. I love your strategy. You brought all your players here with you. Good move. And I really am inspired by what you're talking about. And one last question, where's the karaoke bar?
Right, Matt, you want to take that?
Yeah, 8 Exchange Boulevard is a former title company space. That's on the corner of basically.
It's the Wilder building.
Yeah, the Wilder building. So, we can see part of the 20 here.
Okay.
So we take
Yeah.
that store fairly basic.
We do karaoke.
We'll introduce you to the owner.
Get me an athletic school, get me there, so.
They have excellent branding.
I have one other question, that 10,800 number on residency, do you know where that was like 5 years ago and 10 years ago? Because I drive down Broad Street and there's so many new apartment buildings. I mean, we're building critical mass, it seems, but what's the growth been? Does anyone know?
I think it was about 8,000, I don't want to guess. We will get you those numbers exactly.
In 2014, you had about 6,500 people living downtown.
Yeah.
So you've seen that increase from there, probably about a 45% increase.
So 4,000 or 5,000 people.
Yeah.
That's a lot of movement, and that also makes people feel more comfortable.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we're, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No,
what you were saying. I just wanted to let you know that we journeyed downtown last night from a suburb to celebrate our first grandchild's day as a teenager. And we went to Reds. It was
wonderful.
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
The roads were clear. We're gonna go again.
I'm so glad to hear it. Yes, Red is a wonderful establishment.
I think you're seeing a lot of empty nesters moving back downtown too, because they want the ability to walk and to be able to walk to different places. We've got a bunch of friends that have recently moved downtown just for that purpose. It's really nice to be able to go visit them and walk to a restaurant or a brewery or something like that.
Yeah, you're spot on. We do see more empty nesters. Our average age in the downtown core actually skews a little higher as a result of that. There are a number of retirees, and there's a concentration of that downtown. It's wonderful to see. They're also a really engaged, caring, and committed population. So great residents to work with too on any challenges that may arise.
Well, are there any other questions from the board? No. There's no action today, but I agree with Norm. I commend you on your strategy for bringing all the community leaders here today. I understand that there was an ask. However, I think the context of that ask to be considered by the board is also understanding how the previous allocation has been spent. It's my understanding that it hasn't all completely been allocated at this point. And so I get the sentiment that the board is, I don't want to speak for everyone, in support of our DDC, but I would encourage you to maybe come back next month with a plan to show us an allocation strategy for how the unspent funds will be spent down, in addition to how the additional requests I believe that you had prior to this meeting will be allocated as well. And I think with that additional information, we will be adequately prepared to consider a motion and to vote on it at that point in time.
Wonderful.
Is that fair?
Yes, we will absolutely do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is that fair, board?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you for the presentation. It was extremely detailed, and thank you for the work that you've done for Rochester as
Yeah,
well.
thank you all. Thank you so much for your support.
Okay.
Appreciate it, thank you.
And thank you for allowing for the extra time as well.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, travel report.
Our travel report, this is an annual report from myself to the board, just recapping the previous year's staff travel. In 2025, staff attended New York State Economic Development Council programs, the annual Economic Development Council conference in Albany, and annual meeting in Cooperstown. And there was an additional New York State Economic Development Council event in 2025 that they added to their annual roster of programs called the Leadership and Policy Summit, and that was at Turning Stone in November. Robin, Allison, and I attended those, and you'll see the total cost on the column all the way to on the right-hand side. Sorry, I'm still getting used to using Onboard for my reporting here. Sorry. So it was about a little over $3,500 for the Albany February conference, a little over $4,300 for the Cooperstown conference in May, and over $2,500 for the Verona Turning Stone conference in November. And then our very talented economic development specialist, Chad Weber, went to the NADCO Credit Risk Institute professional development opportunity in New Orleans in March at a cost of a little over $1,400. Chad also attended New York State Economic Development Council's Basic Economic Development course, which we like to offer to staff who are interested, as it kind of runs you through the particulars of Economic Development 101. That was a $1,600 program registration. And Connor, our project manager, went to Cooperstown with us for the annual meeting as well, at a cost of a little over $1,400. We were delighted to have Connor with us. That's really the marquee annual event that the New York State Economic Development Council puts on. They're the convening organization of all the industrial development organizations and EDOs statewide, about 900 members and affiliate organizations. So it's an important group for us to plug in with, particularly around the conversations related to housing and local labor, and what policies do we have in place, and our dealings with the authority's budget office, et cetera. So moving ahead into 2026, I think my status report for this year, which you'll hear from me next year, will probably look quite similar. Maybe there will be a couple of other opportunities for staff to benefit from professional development and training, or there's certainly no shortage of conferences and events and trade shows out there. Many of our economic development partners do attend things like the Photonics Trade Summit out west, or there's like a retail trade show, things of that nature. So those don't tend to, we don't tend to get invitations to those, but in the event that regional economic development partners have an interest in pulling a group of leaders together to go to any of those events, those might appear on the list for next year as well. So any questions about the travel report? Okay.
The dashboard?
The dashboard. So thank you again. Alex gave a great synopsis of where we are financially. So obviously it's this dashboard is reflective of the December data as of December. It's early in the new year, so we don't have a lot of new project activity to report out on. But our fee the fee income that we pulled in 2025 fell a little bit short of what we had budgeted for. And project activity held pretty steady, but the projects were smaller relative to previous years, and I think that was, that stems from larger economic dynamics at play. And our workforce development fund balance is quite low at the moment. We're at $124,563 right now, as of the 2025 year to date. And so there are questions about if we don't bring in a lot of project fee revenue, we can't then allocate lots of money to the workforce fund. So it sets us up such that when asks like the ones today come before this board, we have to think more strategically, more long-term. So I think we'll have those conversations. There's discussion of convening another board retreat in 2026, and we can reassess the workforce development fund, and also the solar workforce fund stands steady. That's one where we don't really see any new activity. So that will be an item that we can discuss at a staff retreat as well.
Perfect, thank you. Chair discussion items, well, she already spoke to one, the beginning process of planning, I think a board retreat, what do we say, maybe in April? Is that what we're deciding? So, if there are some blackout dates that you all have on your calendars for April, please let us know. But, I think just given the substantial resources that we currently have, $17 million is a lot of money. I think it's at this point probably prudent that we start to really think strategically about how we allocate those funds. We're going to get a lot of requests, obviously. It could go towards capital. It can go towards providing operating capital. And, I think that, we are being very thoughtful and strategic about how we allocate resources, namely, sales and mortgage tax payments, the pilots for multifamily. We think very deeply about those. I think it's equally important that we think very deeply about, how we should allocate, the $17 million so that we're sending the right message to the community. And so, hopefully we can start thinking about that in this board retreat and come up with some type of strategy about how we, plan to allocate those resources. That's it for me. I know that we've also wanted to discuss, I don't know if we need to do this now, if we can do this after the meeting, but, we've been mulling around changing the prep call that we have prior to the meetings. Does it make sense to talk about that now? You want to do that after?
Sure.